Polar fleece and other stretch fabrics present a challenge to any sewing machine without the aid of fabric stabilizers and techniques that make it easier. Polar fleece likes to roll over along the edges, making it very difficult to sew. In order to create a perfect stitch along the edge, we need to remove the stretchy quality of the fabric without removing the stretch permanently. In order to do this, you can purchase our stick and rinse stabilizer that comes in small rows as shown here, and it's also sold in much larger widths for other wonderful and creative projects. I am sticking the tape along the cut line on the fabric before cutting. This will ensure a perfectly straight, clean edge while sewing. Once the item is sewn, it washes away, leaving just a perfect stitch using your standard zigzag sewing machine. You can cut different shaped edges using this method if you like as well, like scallops, and make yours a one-of-a-kind custom blanket. You do not want to use a polyester thread on a stretch fabric that is ever going to be in contact with a baby, and we're going to make a baby blanket. So no polyester, yes to rayon, or you can use cotton. But remember, cotton shrinks more than rayon, and it's not as shiny as the rayon thread is. What is your name?
Teri.
And have you ever done any sewing before?
Before my brain hemorrhage.
So you had a brain hemorrhage, and do you have a physical challenge to deal with when sewing?
Right side, I'm paralyzed on the right side.
So we're only going to have the use of the right or the left hand. The foot naturally tips back because of the weight of the screw. See how that screw makes it kind of lean backwards? And inside the zigzag opening is that little wire that's coming out of the white guide. When you lower the foot, if you turn this little nut here, you can change the wire's position inside the zigzag opening. So we set that wire according to the stitch width. We'll go ahead, and once you have the sewing machine width selected, you turn the hand wheel towards you until the needle swings left and right. Once the needle is in the right swing, we want to have the wire just left of the needle. So the sewing machine needle is actually going to swing over the metal wire inside the zigzag opening, and that prevents the fabric from curling. And you never start right at the very corner. Starting a distance away from the corner is best, that way you can overlap afterward. Now as you sew, Teri, you don't really want to hold down on the fabric at all. You'd rather just kind of hold your hand up and keep your eye focused right there. You just want to make sure that the fabric is always touching the white part of the guide. And we don't want to hold back on the fabric, so you're kind of just like cradling it, like you would cradle a brand new baby, like you're making the baby quilt for. And you can sew as fast as the machine will sew because you really aren't in charge of it sewing straight. So you can sew slow and just sew all the way until you go right off the edge. And first stitch off the edge, you stop with the needle up, always up, never down. Now lift the foot and then gently pull the fabric towards the back. So you're going to take it backwards, and then it drops off the wire. And now we spin the fabric around and place the foot back down so that you can see right where you left off. You want to make sure that the wire is just off the edge of the fabric. And then what do we always do on every corner?
Tie it.
We increase stitch length. Instead of tying it off, we just increase the stitch length. And what's going to happen, don't sew yet, is that the feed dogs underneath here are going to pull harder and help you get the fabric up and over that row of stitching that you've already sewn. Go ahead and start sewing. And don't do any pushing or pulling. Now stop. because the fabric began to advance, we stopped the machine, and now we take and go back to the stitch length and shorten it back down. So it's important that you pay attention to what your stitch length was before you started. Now go ahead and sew, and remember, you really don't have to hold it that much. It's more about just having it be lifted and supported, and as long as you keep your eye focused right here and that it's always touching, you should be fine. Go ahead and start sewing. And remember, you can go as fast as the machine can sew because you can't go too far. As long as the fabric is touching the guide, there's no way you can go past the guide. Sewing is not something that you can't do if you're physically challenged, like Teri. Here, now you can text message while sewing.
That was always not bad for a handicap.
Are you having fun?
Yeah.
So even though you can use one hand, you're deciding that your hand needs to just rest instead. And Teri had an aneurysm and lost use of her right hand, so she only has use of her left. And she is easily making a baby blanket for a baby shower she's going to today with the Creative Feet Satinedge foot. This one lucky baby. It's a beautiful polar fleece baby quilt. She gets to make 2 baby quilts, and the total cost around $8 for the 2.
It's not going fast enough now. It's so easy.
And look at your posture. What are you looking at?
Well,
you keep getting tempted to look at the needle, but
I like to watch it, but you don't have to watch it.
And look at your hands, just cradling the fabric. Little bored, don't have enough to do. And everything in the back of the machine is coming out.
And it's almost done right now.
And at the end, you're going to overlap where you started.
Okay. Wait.
Sew in about 1/4 inch, and then you'll stop and pull your threads down and tie a knot on the back side. Or you can feed them through a hand sewing needle and take the thread right into the stitch. Or if your sewing machine has a knot stitch like mine does, you just push the knot stitch button and it'll tie a knot.
Where's the knot stitch button?
On this machine, it's the one there. And there you have it. A beautiful baby quilt made special, one of a kind. Nobody else will have it at the baby shower that Teri is going to today.
Thank you, Claire.
Thank you. So this is the curved edges, and there's the pointed edges done with one hand.
By me.
We'll see you in another video, Teri. We'll have more videos with you. Would you like to do that?
Yes, I will.
All right, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.